The Qur'an functions as a topological network, a closed-loop data structure where meaning is defined by connection rather than linear sequence. This graph maps the text's quantitative dimensions, 6,236 nodes connected by 343,842 unique edges, resulting in a density of 0.0187. This indicates a scale-free topology. Instead of an even grid, information clusters around high connectivity hubs. These hubs act as gravitational anchors. They pull disparate concepts into a unified logical structure, ensuring that secondary nodes remain tethered to the core architecture. Because information is cross-linked across thousands of redundant paths, the network resists local interference. If one connection is obscured, the logic remains accessible. Within these connections, the dataset contains over 2 million closed three-cycle triangles, geometric anchors locking the information in place. This massive topological redundancy creates a self-correcting system. The text functions as a stable operating environment where the whole validates every individual part. The way data flows between these high connectivity hubs reveals a recurring sequence that governs all state transitions. This sequence is the 2-3-7 architecture, a triad governing creation, processing, and resolution. The process begins with the 2. A unified potential bifurcates into 2 distinct channels, creating a gradient that separates signal from noise. Next is the 3. The channels enter a stage of active processing, generating work through tension and oscillation between these poles. This triadic phase acts as a filter, testing the integrity of the information and stripping away entropic noise. Finally, the 7. Here, the surviving information crystallizes into a stable configuration, completing the cycle of state transformation. This 2-3-7 sequence provides the logic of motion for the entire network, processing chaotic inputs into measurable order. This 2-3-7 processing logic manifests as a physical engine in a specific cluster of nodes, verses 41.9 through 41.13. These verses divide reality into 2 interacting planes. The first is the deterministic mass field of the Earth. This is balanced against the command field of the heavens, an indeterministic layer of pure energy. The mass field requires synchronization with the command field to maintain structural integrity and prevent collapse. This schematic shows how the intersection of mass and command builds a thermodynamic engine. Their interaction generates a third state, the Sulaymān layer, or unified authority. This framework establishes material reality as a system to be engineered and managed rather than abandoned. Existence is sustained by the continuous alignment of these opposing fields under a central operating law. Specific high connectivity nodes act as the physical anchors for this engine within the text. Node 2258 anchors the mass field, defining the physical limits of life and death. Node 3.7 serves as the structural pivot, maintaining the internal logic of the dataset. Node 5.16 anchors the command field, representing pure knowledge. To create functional flow between these disparate hubs, the system requires a conductive bridge. The token that links these pillars is my Lord, Rabbī. This term functions as the central bridge, locking human choice into systemic control. The manifestation of this authority follows a specific developmental timeline called the father axis. It begins with the organic phase of wood, represented by Ibrāhīm. This stage is characterized by deep roots, sacrifice, and natural growth. However, organic structures are pliable. They cannot support complex, rigid authority without burning or decaying. The system moves to a phase of engineered constraint, the iron phase, represented by Dāwūd. Iron represents command that is softened and deliberately shaped, and applied as strict structural discipline. Authority is constructed through alignment and engineering. It is forged through discipline. Parallel to this constructive axis is a state of systemic failure. This is the fire distortion loop, where autonomous will operates detached from command. This loop is localized at nodes 1527, 2096, and 111.1, existing at the periphery. It simulates life and generates heat, but lacking structural code, it consumes itself. At the terminal barrier of this loop is an entity attempting to breach the core system. This refusal is a mathematically necessary boundary condition for the network. The resulting thermodynamic pressure forces the system to constantly purify its internal logic. This entropic fire boundary makes free choice possible. Without it, the system would be a dead, deterministic machine. If the physical world is continuously exposed to this fire distortion, the system requires a way to bypass inherited corruption. To resolve this, it uses direct command injection, a pure creation entering without a structural precedent or biological father. The network utilizes 4 primary agents for this protocol: Adam, Yahya, Mūsā, and ʿīsā. These figures represent pure command entering the system to recalibrate its structural integrity. These resets occur when the material world reaches a state of thermodynamic failure. These injections are the network's redundancy protocols, ensuring that pure command can penetrate a degraded reality. The 4-stage closed loop assembles these concepts into a unified protocol. This circuit flows from ʿīsā as the origin, through Mūsā as the execution, Yahya as the activation, and Sulaymān as completion. When the loop completes, it returns to a singular source. The network functions as a live protocol. Verse 19:12, "Take the book with strength," is the activation code. It demands the reader replace their ego with the system's operating logic. By accepting this interface, the reader becomes the living operator, closing the circuit between command and reality. The topological architecture is now fully complete. The network is completely live. The only remaining variable in this system is you.